what is up, everybody? This is Blue Node Live with your host, Blue Toshi here. Today, I've got a very special guest and someone who's doing some really cool and has done a lot of OG stuff in the ordinal space, and now is getting a whole bunch of other artists on board. I love seeing collaborations with so many artists and so many big names. But Knox, dude, welcome to the show, man.
Thank you. Yeah, no, it's really cool. I'm excited that I've like gotten this all together and that I can talk to awesome people like you about it.
Yeah, I appreciate it, and thanks for being persistent. As many people know, I'm getting a lot of DMs. And I'll be like, dude, come back, do your show, and I'm like, you know what? This summer, I'm taking it easy. A lot of family stuff going on, but it's time to get back in the horse. I got kids back in school, and I'm excited, man. I'm excited. And, I see so much crap in the timeline, like, hey, for those who have left, like, you're going to be back. It'd be like, shut the fuck up. Just shut the fuck up. Like, everybody, I've been in this 11 years, and, like, everybody needs to take a break. Like, when Bitcoin goes up and down over the years, for me, it's always good to take a month or two off and just, like, get away from the space, because then it makes it so much nicer and so much fresher, and you appreciate it that much more, I think.
Yeah, no, 100%. The chop can be very disheartening sometimes, especially when you have conviction in the things that you hold, and then it may not necessarily be Bitcoin that are not performing as well as maybe Bitcoin has. So yeah, it can be. It's good to take a break sometimes.
Absolutely. Are you a Bitcoiner first and foremost, or are you an artist first and foremost? Like, how did you fall backwards into the space?
Yeah, so I've kind of become a Bitcoiner. Interestingly, I got into the space 2021 in the NFT craze hype with a lot of other people, and fell into like ETH and like all the stuff that was going on there with like NFTs in general. Found this project, Skullx, that I now manage, which basically just got rugged, and decided to take it over with a few other people as well. Just from there, I didn't really believe in like Bitcoin or crypto in general at that point. It was just kind of like, this is like this cool, interesting new thing, and I want to get interested in it. Just kind of like fell in love with it from there. And then 2023 Q Ordinals dropping, us getting kind of deeply involved with that, with our original collection, Cyber Raiders, and kind of transformed me and like made me understand a lot more of like the values of Bitcoin in general, and why it is like the most important crypto, and everything beyond it. So I would say I'm a Bitcoiner now, but I'm definitely open to innovations with blockchain in general. And I think that it's it's an awesome medium, I would say.
Yeah, 100%. So the first Skullx collection, I vaguely remembered. I was on ETH back in the 21, 22 NFT days. And you know what? I think collecting on ETH, there's still some cool things about it, especially if it's obviously on chain, which, on ETH, just like a Bitcoin, it's on Bitcoin, it's built in. On ETH, it's hard to do, but it's possible. And when you do it right, it's pretty awesome. When is this the first Skullx collection, or? So
that would be the third, I'd say, from like the original team. So that is a 10K collection on ETH.
Okay.
That they dropped 21 October time. Origins, or it was called Kinky Skullx at the time, was the first collection that it's entirely one of ones. Now this whole collection, like the one you're looking at right now on ETH, was on the OpenSea contract, like the original one. So the artist was like doing that, and we were like, okay, we got to get this off of here. And so we ended up teleburning most of the collection over, like with our community. I think we got around 400 of the 550 that were done. but we decided, okay, guys, you have like a year to do this, like, and then we're just distributing the rest on Bitcoin where we think they belong and will live forever. Because I mean, honestly, like, OpenSea contract stuff, they're already getting rid of a bunch of their tooling, and everything's changing with it. I like the direction they're going right now, but who knows where they'll be in 5, 10, 15, 20 years, whereas on ordinals, we know for a fact that, this data will be around for as long as Bitcoin is.
Oh,
So,
yeah. I think that was a
much better
power move.
place.
I mean, obviously On-Chain Monkeys did it. You guys did it. A bunch of people Telebird over. I think it's just so smart. I assume the early OpenSea contracts just put everything on IPFS, or is it even worse? It's like on their own bullshit, like cloud servers.
I think it's their own cloud servers, and then on top of that, they made it so you can't even add to the collection anymore. Like, it's just like, this is it. They've like retired like that. You can't do, from what I understand, like OpenSea stuff anymore. And we were still doing stuff at the time, and yeah, no, it wasn't right anymore. And no, I'm happy that we got it immutably on Bitcoin.
Well, how cool is that? That, because if those contracts finally are deprecated, I mean, look at all the stuff that was on what was it called, Known Origin. There was thousands and thousands, including some really big name artists whose shit just 100% went away
Yeah.
because it was on IPFS. Once they stopped paying the bill, it got unpinned and it went away. This is even better. Like, this is even more like bullshit Web 3.0. But the beauty is, like, if it ever goes away, like, whereas a lot of these ETH collections are going to be like freaking out, you guys are going to be high-fiving because you took care of it years ago, like,
Exactly.
good for you guys. That's awesome.
Exactly. No, well, and it happened with what was that Nike collaboration collection recently,
Art,
semi recently.
you're talking about
Yeah,
Artifact?
Yeah, Artifact. It happened. I mean, they just paid for more IPFS timing and whatever. But I mean, honestly, like, a lot of this stuff that came out in 21, like, we're probably going to see in the next, like, I would say, like, 5 years or so, like, a lot of the stuff that people traded or that was in their wallets, it's just going to be a dead link.
Hey, but
And
that pointer is going to be worth something, right? I mean,
oh, hey, yeah.
what a joke! What an absolute joke! But again, it to me, it just echoes the strength of ordinals and
Yeah.
and bringing stuff over. I stupidly, I have a bunch of sub 5K ordinals. I had Owl and a couple other guys inscribing for
Sick.
me in that first weekend. And I should have literally just had my kids scribble shit. That would have been way cooler. But I inscribed my 3 Azuki. I inscribed like my
Oh,
MFer.
man.
I did teleburn the MFer. So that's kind of cool. Like it's the first MFer.
That is really cool.
So I teleburned that one. The 3 Azuki, I was going to teleburn them. And I'm like, you know what? They're worth like 10 ETH right now. I'm like,
Yeah.
F this. Like that's just stupid. So I sold them, but I have the 3, one's like 3,000 and 2 are in the 4,000s, I think. And so I'll just wait like 10 years when it's just pointers and I'll buy it for cheap and then teleburn it over because I love the collection. I think having it on ETH and IPFS is just a massive, massive mistake.
I think it's something that a lot of collectors in general, or like people in this space, have really, really maybe they just don't understand, or they just don't value it, or but like having something on chain immutably, you collect it, like, it's there for as long as the chain is there, like, which, foreseeably for Bitcoin is like, I don't know, at least 100 years from now, and hopefully longer. But but like it's going to be I mean, like, what ends up happening, because now, like, for example, like the Bored Apes have locked their contract to those links, and I'm sure they paid IPFS for however many years. But what happens after that? Like, what if IPFS goes down? Then what? Do they have to, like, what if IPFS goes out of business? You know what I mean? Like, it costs money to run these servers, right? Like, this data, and like data is becoming something that's like like we need more and more of it because of or like processing power in order to store all of this data
Right.
because of like the prevalence of AI and that kind of stuff. So I mean, like, are the fees going to go up? Are that, like, is IPFS going to start saying like, okay, well, like maybe like we should be charging more for, and then it's I don't know. On chain absolutely is the way, and I think like there's some definite like big time collectors that see the value in that, like when they're collecting like the digital artwork and that kind of stuff. But yeah, I mean, I think that there's a subsect of people that do appreciate it in our space, but I think like more something needs to happen so more people can understand the value behind something like this.
Are you talking
That's
on the
my opinion.
ordinal side?
No, just in general. Like I like we need to see like more like artifact like collections go under. You know what I mean? Like and be like these are like 4:4 images now. We need
Yeah.
to see like something like that happen for people to start realizing. Well,
Yeah.
maybe
I
we
feel
should be
like
doing something differently.
Artifact was like that was such a disappointment. I had a bunch
Oh
of
yeah,
those cubes and capsules, and they made those first games really fun, but I'm like, where are the shoes? Where are the shoes? Like, where are the fucking shoes? And they'd be like, now you get a second artifact cube, get a third one. And finally I just bailed, and I think I bailed when everybody else did. Like, I think it was
yeah,
after the second one when they were like, no Nike, no real Nike shoes in this. It's all virtual. I was like, everybody wants the first,
yeah.
NFT Nike shoe. And when they kept, and I know they eventually came out with it, but I had long bailed. And remember too, Artifact did all the 3D galleries too, which was kind of
Mm.
cool. Like they did a lot of that stuff with those kind of virtual worlds where you could have your galleries and stuff, which I thought was really clever. But I don't think Nike gave a crap. They saw it as like a trend, and I think they shit the bed on that. I suspect the Artifact like founders were still probably pretty into the stuff, and they probably weren't getting much traction in a much bigger company. That's my guess, but that was such a major disappointment from what they started as is this like clues and riddles and getting your Nike shoes to like whatever happened. I don't even follow anymore. What just happened? They just
Yeah.
literally shut the lights off.
Their IPFS links. Oh well, yeah, no, they did now. Yeah, like Artifact is like no longer a company. I don't think they're just like, all right, guys, like sorry, like they basically run
So
away
Nike
from what I
basically,
understand.
well, that means Nike basically just turned
Oh,
the.
Nike bailed a while ago, from what I understand.
Oh, so they
And
had pulled
then
themselves out. Oh, okay. I didn't realize it
and
had
then
gone away. What a bunch of morons! Like
yeah,
it was a cool brand.
it's
So the
unfortunate.
IPFS links, you're saying those are the latest in a series of failures that failed.
Exactly.
I
So I
love
mean,
it.
they went 404. It happened for like 24 hours. They just put the links back and it was fine. But at the same time, like this is the kind of thing that I think a lot of people don't realize. You know what I mean? Like they don't consider, like hey, like or like for example, like Goblin Town just changed all of their
Oh,
their
I
pictures to like
forgot about
the
that.
yeah.
I totally forgot about that. Goblin Town, and they were still doing well. They really captured the imagination. Like that was a really well launched,
It's
like
cool.
viral sensation. And when they did that, fuck you, there's a new link. And those smart contracts, those secure smart contracts lasted for what? Maybe a week and a half before royalties were kicked out of those too. That was such a disappointment. But again,
Yeah.
you live, you learn, and you look back at those times, you're like, God, and so many of us just bought whatever was coming out because we're like, you didn't want to miss out on what could be the next Azuki or Bored Apes or whatever.
Hmm.
I guess though, let's transition to let's go from ETH to Bitcoin now. So these were teleburned. They were teleburned into what collection on Bitcoin?
Origins would be the
Okay.
one
So it
that
was
you're looking for.
Skullx. Okay, so that is Origins. These are the
There you
ones
go.
from the original ETH. Okay,
That's
cool.
right. That's
Um,
right.
so when did you take over Skullx?
Late 2022 is when I joined in. Yeah, late 2022. And then, yeah, no, and then we were just like looking for things like, okay, how, because you know what, like we always, honestly, it was a solid community. Everyone was like super passionate about the artwork. We're like, why aren't more people appreciating this? And, came to the conclusion that just like the previous team was not great at marketing, and everything's built on hype cycles. So we were looking for like the next kind of thing to try to like promote the collection or get some relevancy. And Ordinals was that, actually. So initially it was very shallow, honestly. Initially when we did Cyber Raiders, it was like very like, okay, like, well, let's do something that's like part of the hype.
Yeah.
But then like as I got more into it and I got more entrenched into the space, we realized like, holy shit, like this is fucking awesome. Like this is history here. Like this is crazy that we've gotten this collection so early, and connected, like, honestly, like that one was so early in the ordinal space. Like there was the sub 100K like crew, and like everyone was very supportive of each other and trying to promote everyone and saying like, it was a really cool time.
Yeah.
And it brought me over, and then I just kept like building the project on that and saying, okay, this is an Ordinals project now, because this just makes the most sense.
Do you are most of your folks who are still in, I assume they're all Ordinals folks and not, I assume the ETH folks have kind of petered
I think
out.
we have like a lot of like ETH art collectors
Sure.
in general, like, so they branched out to Tezos. I've connected to a lot of, honestly, a big reason why I get connected to so many artists for this collection is because in my community I have so many collectors from like different areas that suggest, hey, you should check out this artist, or you should do this or that. And so there's still like people collecting like on like ETH, like for maybe specific like interesting drops and that kind of stuff.
Right.
But we're all very deeply entrenched into the ordinal scene, and we're like early to like a lot of stuff, and everyone got rune stones and all that other stuff and all that whole craze that was going on. So that was like huge wins, and we got involved with the BTC machine early, and those guys were awesome. Big shout out to those guys.
Yep.
It was a good time.
Yeah, no, those early days were definitely fun. They were definitely more, I would say, more innocent, because there was definitely there was some wolf in sheep's clothing doing some pretty scammy stuff early, because there was already an ETH playbook. But for the most part, like in those early days, like being a collector and being a founder, it was a very good community, and it was, like you said, it was supportive, but also like learning how it worked. Like and it's still like, it takes a while to wrap your head around it. And, I don't know if that's why a lot of ETH people, some have come over, a lot haven't. I don't know if it's an understanding thing, or it's just their bags are so heavy and packed on the other side that a lot of them aren't coming over. It always
a little bit of both, I think.
Yeah,
it's like,
probably.
I think that there's a lot of, everyone's so short-term mindset in crypto in general. Like, it was like, what's going to happen next week?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, or tomorrow, and no one really has a higher time preference that I think comes with Bitcoin in general. So, or no one really wants to like go into like this is a Satoshi, and this is a UTXO, and this is a rare Satoshi, and this is how this is inscribed, and like we have all this new terminology. So when we're trying to attract like people who are literally have a hold time of 4 seconds on Solana, they're like, I don't have the attention span for this. What's the next meme? Like, whereas like we're just inscribing immutable data into the biggest and best blockchain, but and then obviously. Yeah, I think people have pretty heavy art bags on ETH in general. But you know what though? Like I've talked to a lot. Like I just had a conversation with Steven the other day, and he was telling me how he's like behind the scenes. There's actually a lot of these guys that are stacking up ordinals in general right now. They're just not being very vocal about it, because they there's a game to this at the end of the day, but
Oh, for sure. And yeah, if you don't toot the horn until you've bought everything that you want.
Exactly.
And, you know, art, especially early art like this, goes in cycles, and, you know, who knows when it's going to kick off. Like people trying to
Yeah.
predict when the market takes off. Like you always hear like ordinal summer, DeFi summer. To me,
Yeah.
more of the attention is generally in the winter for stuff like this. Cause you know,
Mm.
we cold weather folks, you know, we got to have something to do in the winter. So, you know, we get to sit at our computers more and look at the art, collect the art, meet people, talk to people.
Mm.
But, you know, I think there's a positive too. The fact that it, you know, a lot of, I don't know, the timeline right now with ordinals is it's hard to look at. It's just like, it's like, it's almost like we're recycling FUD and content in these rerun stories. Like, you know, like these groups of the whole parent child, like these narratives that come out, like, you know, and I took the bait on one of them, just like the smart collectors and founders and people in this space. Like, I don't need continuously to be told what to think or what to do. And I got to say, it progressively gets more and more annoying. Obviously you can mute people, but you know, it's people you like sometimes too. You're just like, just shut up, enjoy the art, and you know, let's everyone support each other, you know?
That would be nice. I mean, but then I think there's a bit of bag bias included in that as well. But I don't know. I listen. I'll in regards to that, I will say that I think parent-child is great. It's a really awesome
100%.
tool that people should be using, but it does not mean that things that do not use it are not valuable, or collections for that matter. So I don't know. And there's a lot of very hard-headed people that refuse to acknowledge that, and I don't know, it's a little annoying.
I think a lot of it is honestly for just clickbait. Like one of the most frustrating things trying to grow like a media brand, especially on X, and really any social network, let's be honest, like if you don't have extreme views on one side or the other, no matter what the topic, it's not going to percolate up as much. But I don't know. There's certain things in life that are non-negotiables, like creating like FOMO or FUD solely for the purpose of that and going all batshit crazy and extreme. I mean, we see it with two political parties. Nobody likes the extremes. Most of us sit in the middle and just want to, you know, live our lives. But, you know, here we are. So there's always a battle with that. What's your take? Like, sounds like you're just kind of keeping your head down building. You're meeting a ton of different artists. I mean, you really reached out. I looked at the list, you know, we'll get into the collection, but you reached out to some of my favorite art, not only favorite artists, but favorite people in the space.
Awesome.
To collab with this. So how was that experience? Like, how did this concept come about for you?
So back in 2021, the previous founders used to do art contests all the time in order for like whitelist purposes or for like free things in general. And I always thought that was like a really cool thing because you would reimagine the world or like the NFT and like this other artist's style or whatever. But, you know, I always hope that it could be on chain in some way or connected, but you know, it just is like you have this other piece that's not necessarily attached in any way. But when like reinscription really became easier to use or more accessible, it was something where I was like, oh damn, like this is perfect. This is like the perfect way to utilize this is you get these artists to create their renditions of it, and you know, you can attach them so you're increasing the value of the original, in my mind, exponentially because of the other artist's actual pieces connect to it. I like to tell people that it's like two sides of a painting, like you have the front and the back side of the painting. So I just think that's like a really novel concept, and it's you can only do it on Bitcoin and like through ordinals. I don't know. It's been really cool connecting to all these different very, very talented people. Just like throughout like all levels of skill, all levels of you know, humanity, for lack of a better term, and you know, but it's been fun though. It's been really fun connecting with everyone. My favorite people to work with in this world are artists, because you know, they truly are like passionate people, and you know, they live for their craft, right?
Yeah, you got really quiet all of a sudden. I don't know if you had,
Oh, really?
if you
Is that a
adjusted
bit better?
something. Yeah, I think your computer's adjusting volume or something.
Okay, maybe.
It got
Is that a bit better?
Yeah, talk now.
Testing.
Yeah, it's better. Yeah, it got real quiet. I don't know. I feel like
I think
there's like a monitor on or a limiter or something.
I think I just I moved back a bit. I was back here, but
Yeah, it's adjusting up and down. That's what it's doing.
okay. Okay.
So these are these the reinscriptions rate? Like, is this
No.
part of it?
So this those renditions were just essentially like ChatGPT came out, and we decided to just like, or ChatGPT came out with it. They came out with their recent like innovation of like image to image.
Got it.
We're like, how can we do this? But if you go look up the artist series, you'll see the entire collection.
Is Skullx Artist series already indexed in Magic Eden?
Magic Eden, yeah. If you, I think if you go to Bitcoin there, you'll probably see, if you're looking at ETH, right?
Oh, whoops.
Yeah.
Skullx. Which one is it?
Artist, just two down. There
Artist
you go.
series, got it.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
There you go.
So the whole point of this, so you and we'll talk about the artists you solicited, and it's funny because like you look in here and you can see, I'm like, oh, I know who that is. Like, I mean, some of these styles are they're so distinct, Boozy. They're so distinct to who they are. They're Psychonaut there. I can just tell from the styles, you know, who did it. But the whole key thing here, which I think is really cool, is these are reinscriptions. So was that whole first series, was it all sub 100K or just a lot of them are sub 100K?
Yeah, so the Cyber Raiders are all sub 100K, and a lot of them are in this collection as well.
Got it.
Like if you click on that Swayze one or the Twick one, you can see that it's actually reinscribed with a sub. So each one of these that you get are reinscribed with the original. So you'll get both. They trade together forever. So that's like a sub 100K you're getting if you get the Swayze one. Yeah, no, it's really cool. I really like the concept of reinscription, especially because it allows me to release the original collection that we had in our vault without diluting the original collection. This is no we're releasing what we would have anyway, so it's not just like, you know, more new stuff. It's new stuff with the old stuff.
No, this is super cool. Do you have, just out of curiosity, I see you're right at 48,000 to like 50,000. Did you get 50,000 on the dot or no?
No, unfortunately not. No, we got, the only other numbers we have was, so we really leaned into the 666 thing with our second collection, Hell Raiders, and we got 666,666. And then we did that again with our latest series, Skullx Infinite, where we got 66,666,000.
Right.
But no, we didn't really snipe the numbers back in like the sub 100K times or anything like that.
Yeah, no, that's cool. So for reinscriptions, it just dawned on me because I see that. So when you reinscribe on a set, it does still get its own inscription number.
That's right.
Okay. So both are on the same set, correct? But it is actually two different inscription numbers.
That's right. Yeah. So they're two ordinals on one Satoshi, or in some cases 3 or 4, or
Right.
like with my PFP for like my Twitter profile, for example, is a Cyber Raider that I've gotten like one of ones and you know, fan art or like whatever, like people have been honoraries, and so I've gone and actually reinscribed every honorary I've gotten with my original on top of that. So it's pretty cool. I really like the concept of it.
No, it's super cool. So I'm just looking for SAT number here. Okay, so here it is. So the SAT number is the same.
That's right.
All right, there we go. Perfect. So here's a better example. So here's the actual SAT number, and then here are the two inscriptions, which, there we go. Very cool. So you transfer the one SAT and you get both. So this is Swayze's. Did every artist do one basically, or do you have a couple artists who did multiple?
No. Every single one is by an individual artist. But actually some did, for example, like 2 iterations. Like Boozy did a Pizza Ninja version and like an original version. Or there's another one, shout out to Mick Hexley, who's launching a project called Yonder soon. He did a day and a night version of his as well. So, and we've included those together. So there's 3 for Mick Hexley's, for example.
Oh, very cool. Here, let's go back to it. So it's Skullx.
Yeah, we got a lot of stuff we've released here.
So right now there's 164 total. I thought the number was 115. What's the total?
So I launched this original collection, like the first series, about a year ago, and we were doing individual auctions with each of them. Now, it was going well for a bit, but it didn't really. It started not performing in the way that I thought was appropriate for the work that the artists had put into it and what they were. So I just decided to pause them. Now, when Signals came out, I was like, okay, this is a really awesome way to release the rest of these. However, the fees are super low. So like, why not go and include, a ton of like artists that are like really talented and like just expand this collection. We have more stuff in the vault. Like, why not? So I went and added around, I don't know, I think like 90 more pieces on top of that. So that it's showing 115 on Signals right now. We're going to update that today though. I believe there will be 130 spots to bid on. So that average is going to come down a little bit.
Oh, very cool. Very cool. So I love that this is launching on Signals. I think, these guys came up with a really cool concept here to kind of, to get intention and to really capture that artist intention before actually making the purchase. And, it can kind of create its own kind of FOMO spin wheel, right? Where the more people get into it, the more want to get into it, and the more that do get into it. So I thought this is really cool. You guys already, you're still fairly early. What do we have? We've got like 5 days left, I think, in your and putting your signal in before the price comes out. Right now, the base price is 106, but let's be honest, the last couple days is when most people do their action. But no, this is super cool. Let's talk about some of the artists. Like, you got a great turnout, just seeing Teflon and Boozy and the list goes on and on here of who you got. Gabe Weiss. Was it hard to get people on board, or were they familiar with Skullx, or did they love the sub 100K aspect of it? Like, what was it easy getting people on board with all these A-listers?
So like I said, it pays to have like collectors from these artists in my community that were able to introduce me to a lot of people. It also helps that I have like a mid-sized account, I would say. So like reaching out to people makes it a little more simple. But to be clear though, like not all of these are actually reinscribed with Cyber Raiders. Around you'll probably, I think there's around 15 that you can get in the total collection that are actually, you can even see if you click on the left there in the metadata, you can see original collection. You can see how many are in each. Yeah. So a bunch are in Infinite, a bunch are the sub 100K. Now a lot of these ones were actually already auctioned last year, so there was about 30 that were done. So those like Boozy was already done, like Pixel Lord, Marcus Manson, like those that I can, or Doodle Dave. Those are ones that I Sabet. But yeah, you could get a bunch of other ones. I believe there's like around like 15 you could get that are sub 100K.
Very,
But
very cool. So you got your
yeah.
Cyber Raiders, you got your Hell Raiders, and then you got your Infinite. Was the Hell Raider the second collection?
Yeah, Hellraider was our second collection that we inscribed in the 666,000 range. So they're sub million
Sub
actually.
million, okay.
Yeah, yeah. And then Infinite is the most recent one we launched. And those have like all this crazy 666 block 666 on with 666 transaction ID 666 inscription numbers like it. Yeah, that was a cool one. I was really excited about that.
Yeah, you got to embrace it. I mean, one of the things I love about Ordinals is just, you know, using a rare sat for rare sat's sake is cool, but it's not the whole picture. You know, the fact that, you know, obviously,
Completely agree.
yeah, with Skullx, like you kept, you know, this is something on ETH or Tezos or Solana. You just, these concepts don't even exist. And I think it's one of those where if you really think it out and do a good job with that with your collection, like you said, in 5, 10, 15 years, however long it takes for people to kind of figure it out, like to me, it goes back. Like I went with my brother and my kids like 4 months ago to a gold and silver shop, but they have a really good coin collection. And it's really fun, you know, because obviously that's what I grew up with. I don't know if you ever grew up with that stuff. My brother really liked to collect. So it was just fun seeing everyone get lost there in all the different, you know, like the steel penny and the silver quarters and stuff before 1964 and all that. But to me, this is the same thing with like, oh, okay. So, you know, it's the Skullx brand. Obviously it connotates 666 and hell and all that stuff. So you're going to use block 666. You're going to use sats and inscriptions with 666. Like it just makes total sense. And to me, those little things that you thought about now in the long run will pay off as people go into the future Ordinals coin shop with their kids and are like, oh, these are cool. These guys were OG, you know, and they did this. But I think people in this right now, the timeline, I have no patience for impatience, which I guess is a paradox, right? But like you just got to build like, you know, Psychonaut and Powell and Lemon Haze and all these guys. Like so many people are just keep building because they love what they do, right? And I think all the collectors, you know, the only thing that makes me real nervous is like, I just read the $12 million Stuffed Shark earlier this summer, and it's all about just the fine art market and collecting and stuff. And you'd think it'd be the critics or maybe the galleries that really control what's bought, but really it's controlled by the wealthiest people and the like the Sachis and so what makes me nervous is someone's going to come in and people are already doing so, but they're just like, we've got $20 million and we're going to buy all this crap. And, you know, let's be honest, like there's a couple of guys that have come in and some of the purchases I'm like, totally agree. And some I'm like, God, that narrative, it just won't die. And maybe in 20 years, the narrative shifts to what it really should be. And you know what? Maybe my opinion is one opinion and it doesn't matter. But some of the stuff to me just feels a little cringe. And it goes to show you a narrative and a strong like KOL support group, like if the narrative's even decent, can kind of work and twist what the perception is.
Yeah, no, I think that a lot of people don't realize that, collectors are very important, and a lot of these art funds, etc., are a lot of the ones that kind of direct what happens,
Right.
and, you know, in terms of like what's valuable or what's collectible, or and you know, that's just something you have to come to terms with. And I mean, that's that's just reality. But I do like, even like going back to your original point of like the depth that ordinals offer. I think that is something that like just your average Joe is really going to be interested in. And sure, you'll have these like fine art collections that are being controlled by the collectors and funds and whatever. But I think that like there's a lot of ordinals. Like we're at 110 million, although I think around like 60% of that is BRC 20s. But that just makes what we have right now, or what we're doing right now, even more valuable in my opinion. Like there's only so much people are going to be able to do. And you're an OG Bitcoiner, so I'm sure that you believe at some point, Bitcoin's going to north of 1 million easily, and with that makes everything we're doing here exponentially more expensive, and as people are developing on Bitcoin in general right now, that increases on-chain activity and therefore transaction fees. And doing a collection like, I've done here, or anyone else really, like it becomes more unattainable as time goes on. So it's the kind of thing that I think if a lot of these fine art collectors, etc., start accepting this form of digital artwork, then it's the kind of thing that I think really will take off, especially as Bitcoin becomes more widely adopted in this world. And I think like something like there's no reason, like, well, with all these treasury companies popping up, which is a whole other rabbit hole. But
Right.
but I would not be surprised to see them. I mean, like if you look at Tom Leem, what he's doing with Ethereum, he's supporting the Pudgy Penguins, for example. I would not be surprised to see something similar happen with a lot of these treasury companies in Bitcoin, and the best form of NFT on Bitcoin.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the treasury companies, so you're just saying from a stacking sats perspective, like the treasury companies to me, like, because to me, those just feel like SPACs, right? And SPACs have had a history of being pretty sketchy and not very good long term. Maybe the treasury companies will change that. And if Bitcoin goes up, I guess it doesn't really matter. They probably will be. If you're going to do a treasury company, you might as well do kind of the original OG. I know Sailor's setup probably a little different because he just shovels everything and options and releasing more stock. Like he does it every 6 ways till Sunday to acquire more Bitcoin. But I don't know. For me, it's the sovereigns and the big $1 trillion corporations. Like even if they start putting 3 or 4% in, which, I mean, can you imagine the first one between Apple, Microsoft, like Nvidia, and whoever, that to be like, yeah, we just put in like 25 billion or whatever in Bitcoin, and we dollar cost averaged over a couple months. Like, it's gonna catalyze a series of events that the other big guys will get in, and then all the mid-sized guys will. Like, whoever is first in this next kind of cycle there, as all these new tracks get laid out for TradFi to get in very easily, whoever's first is going to, like, those companies won't, like, they could come out with like the iPhone 32 dog shit that nobody even buys, and it won't even matter because Bitcoin's going up, but we'll see.
Yeah, I really like the treasury companies. I think that it's great that we have that and people can do that. I'm a little worried that they're getting a little over leveraged and creating a massive bubble, and it just is like one thing for them to just pop, and that's not going to be great. But as you're saying, yeah, no, I do think that like there are bigger fish that could make a huge difference as well. And honestly, like, as I know, like the whole like American Bitcoin treasury thing was a bit of a like, that's not really like happening, maybe a bit of hype there. But I think that it's the kind of thing that absolutely, like, as the digital gold thing kind of like progresses the narrative, and people start accepting it more as that, I think it's the kind of thing that absolutely could be possible. And when that is a real thing, and like, yeah, okay, like the United States is buying or selling treasury bonds and buying Bitcoin, like that is like this huge signifier to like every country in the world. Now it's like, okay, we need Bitcoin, and I do think this is the kind of thing that is happening behind the scenes.
Yeah, for sure. Well, once it's fully into TradFi where you can, put it as collateral for your house or whatever. I mean, and it might already be there, but it's in such early stages.
Well, like IBIT.
Can you do it through IBIT? Once the bigger banks do it, I know the banks, like there's it feels like one last breath trying to, like now they're trying to stop interest again on like the stables. But like you look at these bank accounts and, my joint checking, my wife and my joint checking is like 0.02%, and what are they're turning around making 5, 6, 7%. Like the stables only make sense. So I that to me seems like a fight that's lost. It's like Western Union dominating. But I mean, just think about the credit card companies. Like they get 3% plus on every, pretty much probably 70% of all transactions, maybe 80 or 90% now. I don't know percentages cash, but it's got to be a lot. And they have inserted themselves everywhere. And it's just like, it's for your safety. It's normal. It's, and that's one that could just be crushed and could just go away too. Because now we just pay 3% more at least for everything. You know what I mean?
Easily. Yeah. No, it's only a matter of time with this stuff. It really is. And, this tech was created to disrupt markets. And I think it's already showing that it's doing that, and it will to the nth degree, honestly. So, I mean, I don't know. It's, we're in an exciting time. It's a little scary, but it's, it's exciting though. And I think, 10 years from now is going to look very different.
Oh, 100%, 100%. So let's get into, cause I love going to these signals pages. They always look so great.
Yeah.
Tell us about, so we got just over 4 days left, or just under 5 days left. Already you guys have a 245% signal, which is great. I mean, already you're oversubscribed. You've got 282 people vying for 115 spots, but obviously now we want to see the base price, go up. So tell me about, just tell me more about the artist series. And, it sounds like you did this over time. This wasn't just something you came up with 2 or 3 months ago. You've been working on this for, it sounds like well over a year. You've already had artists, like you said, Boozy and a couple other guys who, started doing it last year. How has that process gone for you?
Yeah, I mean, so interestingly, yeah, I started it last year when fees were much higher. I inscribed the first 60 of them at 30 sats for Vivite, and I thought I was getting a deal back then. And now, fast forward to when Signals launched. It actually it probably has been 2 to 3 months that I've been recruiting all these other extra artists on top of that. So it did because I was just waiting at that time. I wasn't thinking to relaunch it in any way unless there was something like Signals coming out. And then obviously they came out, and I was like, okay, I'd like to add to this and get some really great people involved. Yeah, no, I mean it's like I said, I love working with artists. I'm already connected to most of the Bitcoin native artists. So the benefit of being someone that's been in the ordinal space is you can just message a lot of these people, right? And it's that they're aware of who you are, and it's a fun thing. I mean, honestly, it's very easy to approach an artist with a brief of hey, pick an asset and do whatever you want with it. Have fun. So, and that was my primary goal. I just wanted to, their own, I would have wanted each artist to put their own breath into it,
right.
And I didn't want to give them any direction beyond just make this like this,
How did you assign each one a skull, or did you say pick from these?
Yeah, I said pick from these. So I gave him, I set up the whole sheet of okay, this is what we have. Pick whatever you want here. And Lindoko picked that one that you're showing there. And yeah, no, so I mean, it was just basically whatever inspired you. pick from it. And for example, like shout out to Zoe Louise, who, you know, picked a deer skull one. And she went out to her property and found a real skull of a deer. It was a deer or something. I think she's in the New Zealand or something.
I just saw that one, and that one definitely popped out to me. Where was it?
It was just up a bit, I think, too. Right.
Did I miss it?
Right there.
Where is it?
To the right under phrase, bottom right.
Oh shit! There it is. Okay.
Yeah. This one's really that was very like she sent me this. I was like, wow, that's a really cool thing. She's like, yeah, I got a real skull for my property. I was like, whoa, that is crazy.
Is that
so
wait?
Cool.
Did she? Is that art, or did she? Or is that like a picture?
So from what I understand, yeah, I think she took a picture of this stuff and did some digital enhancements on top of that.
Very cool.
So, but like, yeah, no, she painted that skull and everything. And I don't know, it's cool. Like, you should actually check out Phrase as well on the top right. Like, he did a very, very interesting one, where this is like a request. So if you click those top left nozzles out of switches, so you do 1, 2, 3, and then the middle one.
Nozzles.
It's just, yeah. And then you do the third one, and then that middle one, and you'll see, like, this is like a really...
there we go. Very cool.
Yeah, it's a really cool piece. But there's a lot of stuff like this. There's a lot of stuff like this in the collection of people just doing like really, like Michelle Thompson's another one I just saw, who does collage art. Teflon on top, he does great stuff. I mean, like Lemon Haze obviously doing his like thing is his code based artwork. You know, and then on top of that, this has like been a really cool project because I've been able to onboard so many people to Ordinals. There's a lot of Genesis pieces in this collection of artists on, or like this is actually PR Guitar Man's first Ordinal.
Really?
And yeah. And among many others, like Jessica Komori is another one. Max Capacity, he did one. That's his first.
Here's Ben. I love Ben. Guy's
Ben
awesome.
did a really cool one.
Oh
really,
man,
really
yeah,
cool.
that one's awesome.
Yeah. And you know what? I really like the concept of signals because we can just because it adds, I feel, like a bit of a guessing game to it, like a bit of game theory. You know, like what am I willing to pay for this? Where do I think this is going to go? And then once that's all done and the reserve price is set, it's going to be a complete blind mint. So you're not going to be able to snipe anything. It's just whatever you mint. So we're adding those, kind of like open a Pokemon card package, like booster pack kind of vibe to it as well, where you could get kind of like anything from here. But I really made sure that I don't know if I made sure, but I think like the artists made sure that like each one of these, no matter which one you get, I think you're going to be very, very satisfied with whatever your pull is.
Yeah,
they're all really cool pieces.
Ika's is super cool here.
She has some. I love her style.
Yeah, I do too. Yeah, there's so many good ones here. Like honestly, I'd like click on all of them here.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, this is cool. So, all right. So let's get back to the signal. So what can people do? What's the best way to do it? I know I did Hardo's a little while ago. So first you want to add your signal, and then you want to really bid, right? Like,
yeah. So I mean, adding signal it just indicates that you want a spot. It doesn't indicate that you are willing to bid for it, essentially.
Got it.
If you bid for a spot, you're essentially putting a 10% down payment on whatever. So say you were bidding right now, you'd have to put $10 down, for example, to say, hey, I will pay $100 for this. And if it goes to the end and it's $100, then, you will it'll be $90 because you've already put $10 down.
Got it.
If you catch it, yeah.
So they make you put 10% down. Does it allow for people to back out or no?
No. So if you put 10% down and you are in one of the 130 spots and you do not mint, you just lose that. It's the kind of like you got some. You're putting some money on the table saying like, yeah, I will be minting this.
No, I like that. I was saying, so people can pull out. Like I'd almost make it more like make the deposit, it's like when you put a bid on a house, like you got to like, come on, you got to commit, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
But it's definitely a cool concept. So, so you got a bid here. And then basically the highest individual, it sounds like the number is going to go up from 115 to about 140, 150, you said?
I would say 130.
130. Okay. So a couple more are coming in down the pipe.
Yeah.
And if you are one of the top 130, whatever bidders, you will get the spot and you will, you'll get a random, one of the Skullx Artist series.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I mean, so what's actually great for like collectors or anyone bidding is that the final bid ends up being what the lowest bid out of all 130 are. So if the average is 100, but if the lowest bid is like, I don't know, 30, then that's what the actual price ends up being.
Okay. So that 106 got it. So that's the average bid right now. So hopefully that average bid goes way up and the base is 106. But basically just take the 130 first bid or however many pieces there are. That's the one that you've got to be over in order to mint.
That's right. Yeah.
Oh, this is great, man. Dude, this collection is super cool. I love the different takes on the artists. You know, you're taking an old sub 100K and then all your other collections. You know, you guys have been here since the beginning. Super OG in this space. Obviously, you have been a huge contributor in the space, and you know, you've never, you know, and I appreciate you for not over shilling and stuff. You just, you know, you do your thing and you contribute a ton to spaces and the whole ecosystem. And you know, we're, like you said, you're like, yeah, reach out to artists and they get right back to you. Yeah, it's because Ordinals is still kind of a small unknown. We're like this little corner. You know, I think it's cool because one day it's going to shock people, but it's not always going to be that way. But right now,
no,
it still is. And I love it because it's how you make good friends and, you know, on the base floor of something before it just takes off and goes huge. And I'm patient. I got all the time in the world. Yeah,
no, I do really think that I agree with you. It's going to change and it is going to shock people. And I think that, a lot of people are going to be very surprised. And, you know, it comes with that, understanding the underlying tech of this stuff. And this is such a cool gallery. Shout out to Blackjack Demon that made this.
Yeah, he did such a great job here. This is, I love this one. This one's super cool.
It was Sexaline, I believe.
Yeah, no, that's cool. I love the geometric shapes and
yeah,
I mean, so many of these. Yeah, this is so cool. I almost forgot to take us in here. Yeah, this is this all of them or is this just a lot of them?
I think it's a lot of them. I think there's too many in the collection to actually fit all of them in here.
To fit them all.
And if you come in and then, it'll like refresh them differently. But yeah, no, it's cool.
Yeah, this is probably a good place to finish. Is there anything you and I didn't chat about, or any logistics or anything so people can I love this Pez one. This one's awesome.
Yeah, Brick Ross and I don't know if you've seen his collection Brickheads. He does a lot of them like this, and this was actually one of the first ones that he did. Shout out to Brick Ross. He's a really good guy. Great artist.
Brickhead prints by. No, that's different. Okay, never mind.
It's HEDZ.
HED.
There you go.
There it is. Oh yeah, very cool.
Yeah,
big
cool.
fan of the Pez. Grew up with the Pez, but all right. Well, dude, it was so good having you on the show. Everybody go to signals.art. It's such a great interface. If you haven't played with it, go try it. Place your bid on Skullx. Make sure you get in there. Bid over 106. Bid way over 106, and then remember it's the lowest price, so you'll definitely get in. But the beauty is kind of like a pack of baseball cards. You never know which one of these you're going to get, which artist, and then people can swap and trade. I mean, so many huge names in here. I mean, this is definitely like the people who've been building in and out of up and down and fear and FOMO season, and it's just cool to see you bringing them all out. You got Rax, I know you got Teflon, Brick. I mean, so many great names in here. So what a cool collection, and what a cool way to bring the Ordinals community together. While we're in this lower time, because it's not going to be this way forever, and this is a collection I think is going to do really well.
Thank you, man. Yeah, well, thanks. It was great chatting, and I'm glad you really like it, and I think everyone else is too, once they start really understanding like what you could possibly get. And I like that we have it's been a great tool to onboard a bunch of new people to Ordinals. I think we have like 30 Genesis pieces from new artists from like Tezos and ETH and Soul and whatever. So this is it's a good time.
Yeah, absolutely. And bringing other artists over to Ordinals, because over time, they learn that this is a different canvas, but it's an interesting one with a lot of nuance, like you did with Block 666, and really made it kind of fit the whole Skullx vibe and community. So, well, Knox, it was great meeting you. Thanks for being persistent. This is a great show. I love this collection. And let's talk soon, and everybody take care, and we'll probably see you next week.
Thanks very much, man. It's fun.
Yep. Later.